Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Meno Lounge. I'm Julie Gordon White, CEO of Menowell, Menopause Energy and Protein Bars. And I'm so excited to see all of you here today. I missed you guys. Thanks for going along with our intermittent breaks happening. I think I've mentioned a few times that I'm in business school at UC Berkeley. And it's incredible. I have to tell you, I mean, it's kicking my ass, like walking to school with my backpack on, but being around 20 somethings, building AI things, all the cool stuff is really, really inspiring. And it's inspired us to build some extra cool things for you. Stay tuned. And besides, I bring them Menopause bars, and seriously, those young men, the women eat them too, but the guys, they love them. So anyway, I'm so glad. I've been waiting for this. I'm going to bring up our guest today. Hiatus for this combo. So excited. So here she comes.
Hi.
Hello. Oops, I heard that little feedback. I think that was me.
All good. How are you?
Good. Oh, so glad to be with you. Let me scoot this up here. We've been waiting for a while for this. And what are you? 7 days out? 7 days
Yes.
out for the launch of your book. I'm so
Yes.
excited.
Thank you
Millennial
so much.
Menopause. Okay, we're going to jump all into it. We're getting a little feedback. I'm not sure why here. Can you hear it on your
Can
side?
you hear me?
I can hear you, but do you hear feedback on my side?
No,
Okay,
all good for me.
we'll just ride it out then. Okay, so let's just go back to the beginning. Okay, you are a psychotherapist, you're a coach, you were an attorney, not anymore, and a writer, all the things, which I just love that. And all of a sudden, one day you woke up and said, I have to talk about menopause to millennials and perimenopause. Tell me about it. How did this even happen?
Sure. So yes, I have worn many professional hats. I'm also a mom. I have 2 kids in elementary school and a puppy. And I really wanted my whole life to help and support women and advocate for them. So I was an attorney, but then I shifted to maternal mental health and to supporting women's mental health in the workplace and beyond. And I specialize in perinatal mental health. So that's the reproductive years.
Mm-hmm.
And as I approached 40, I realized I knew nothing about what happens next. Mm-hmm. And I met Ann Fullenwider, who's the co-founder of Alloy, and she said, we have to be talking about this. And I said, well, no one's talking to my people, so I'll talk to them. So here we are.
I love it. Well, there's hardly anybody better than Ann that could have encouraged you on this journey. So love Ann and love Alloy. So that is so exciting. And when I think about it, I have a 26-year-old daughter. She knows all the things about menopause, obviously, when her mom is just constantly, and I'm sure like your kids,
Yes.
wah, they know all the things. But when you think about it, the age group that you're talking to, it's full on menstruating, right? All in the period thing. And so we barely even talk about periods. It's so much better now. I sent Georgia to school with a little period pack, before she started her period, so she wouldn't get caught with nothing. But I don't think that's that usual. I don't know. And so how do you introduce perimenopause to women that are just thinking about, oh God, I got to deal with my period here?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you go back to the beginning of before puberty and just normalize women's health and reproductive health in general, I think that's the key to it all, right? And people still think, oh, menopause, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about my period, but I think that we have to, and we have to destigmatize it. It's nothing to be ashamed about. I agree with you that when it comes to periods, we are normalizing it a little more. And another angle is to say, well, guess what? With menopause, you don't have to deal with your period anymore. So that's a good thing.
Then there's that. Did you see that post? I'm trying to remember who it was. It was a celebrity, I think. And she was maybe at Wimbledon, and she was wearing a white skirt and had a little stain through bleeding on her skirt. Right. And she's like, take a picture. This is normal. I mean,
right. I have a body.
Wow. What a concept. I love that you're doing this. Now, millennials are about 29 at the earliest. Is that right? To 44?
Yes, so born 1981 to 1996. So yes, that is 29.
29 to 44. So 44 is right perimenopause zone. Okay. How are the younger side of the millennials responding to the book now that you're out talking about it, even though it comes out next week, so everybody needs to pre-order? I hope you do. You have a copy, advanced copy with you? Please hold it up. Okay, great cover, great cover. I love
Thank
it.
you.
um,
I love pink, and obviously it was on brand.
I love it.
um,
Power colors. So
Thank you.
how are earlier, younger millennials, the 29 to 30-year-olds, how are they receiving this conversation as you're out and about?
This is a wonderful question, and I'm so glad to be talking about it with you and with them. So I have a lot of clients who are in their late 20s, early 30s. And I would say that my book and just learning about this topic has sparked in them more of an awareness of what menopause is, because we're not talking about it, we're not taught it, doctors aren't taught about it, but also a drive to learn more about their fertility and what the impact of having babies later on might be, and they're really optimizing their health, which is something that we all can and should be doing.
I love, and I hadn't connected this before, and I'm sure you have, but the bridge between maybe therapy that younger women are going through, because therapy is now so much more normalized, and with online therapy, telemed, different ways. I know you have clients or patients in multiple states, right? So you're New York based, but you've got people in Florida, etc. And so that that is a bridge when you're talking to women. Please validate this thing that I'm thinking, of when a woman's talking about her fertility, to introduce the conversation about perimenopause. Is that true?
Exactly. And it's nothing to be afraid of. It's something to be aware of. And who do we go to, whether it's a mental health professional, a reproductive endocrinologist, our OBGYNs, what we're doing for birth control, what we're doing in terms of family planning. And it's just awareness. I firmly believe knowledge is power. And again, normalizing these topics, whether it is mental health, fertility struggles, or menopause, we have to be talking about all of it.
Yeah. And talking through it with your therapist, or hearing about it through your therapist, I think is a wonderful bridge, because you can be supported if young women are afraid or confused, to have that level of support. So are you talking to other therapists too and sharing your book with them?
I sure am. I've done a few trainings. I did a presentation for the National Association of Perinatal Social Workers. So there's a huge overlap between the postpartum and perimenopause period, given that women are having babies later and later. And I've done various trainings for other clinicians, and it's really an exciting time, as you know, in the women's health menopause space, because we're finally talking about this very normal thing that happens to every woman who's lucky enough to reach a certain age.
Right. I'm just so excited, because for you as a therapist, and a coach, and actually and formerly an attorney, I've done some presentations to attorneys for continuing education, because there's a wellness component to that. And so attorneys need a lot of support around menopause. By the way, Lauren, as you know, burnout is real, right? Um, so I just love that you are that voice, and that earlier voice, because I can just imagine it's confusing for women who are taking birth control, have an IUD or some other source, and how are they recognizing I might be in perimenopause, or they just think like I'm totally off the rails now?
Yeah, so as a therapist, when I heard or learned and researched and studied about the impact of perimenopause and hormone fluctuations on mental health, I was really struck by how significant they can be and how little mental health professionals are taught about it. But actually, perimenopause, as I'm sure you know, is quite a time of vulnerability, if not the most vulnerable for a woman's mental health.
Right.
And it's something that we all need to be aware of, because help is available. You do not have to suffer through it, and you should know what your options are. I hear from so many women, I don't feel like myself, or I've developed resilience skills and I they're out the door. I lost all of them all of a sudden. I have so much rage, irritability, fatigue, stress, and it's perimenopause. And so they should be enlightened as to what they can do about that and not feel helpless, but instead have agency to help themselves.
Yeah, I love that. So important. And so, what are you noticing, whether it's your patients or people, women you're talking to, about who are in that millennial perimenopausal category? How is their career potentially being impacted? And was yours impacted? Did that have anything to do with your shifts? Or what are you hearing?
So I hear there's a few different ways that I can answer this. So I hear a lot of I am just too exhausted, my brain fog is out of control, I can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, we hear that a lot in the postpartum period as well. And for me personally, my becoming a mom and having priority shift and values align in different ways, that was what led me to where I am now in private practice as a mental health professional. So relatedly, I think that even if you're years away from menopause, putting in place and advocating for policies that help women in menopause is something that you have to advocate for now, and almost even more so now than when you actually need it, because then it doesn't feel as urgent or desperate, right? And for me, it's
Like
so
my
clearly on the right
generation,
side of history.
desperate. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how it was for me. I had to fight for paid parental leave. And we
Mm.
all know that feeling
Mm-hmm.
of nervousness, right? Uh-oh, if I even mention maternity leave, they're going to
Right.
discriminate against
Or
me.
just
They're
that
going
you're
to think
pregnant at all, right? That was a big deal.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so if you're not planning on having kids, please be an ally and demand the leave. And similarly, if you're a man or have been through menopause years ago or are years away from it, ask for policies that support women in menopause now and always, and support them, because women don't have to leave the workforce just because they're having
Right.
symptoms, and it's really a shame if they feel like they do.
And we know that is true. It's really devastating. I'm the end of the Generation X, end, oldest, of Gen X. And, we're kind of that lost category, that lost generation that we just struggled. Our mom told us nothing. We didn't
Nothing.
feel that we had any resources whatsoever. And so I love, 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 because we've been talking, like I keep saying, here comes perimenopause, right? We're all talking about perimenopause. But I love that you just bumped the conversation 10 years earlier to
Yeah.
millennials, to swoop in our 29-year-olds plus, because we all need to link arms, right? Because us that are, post-menopausal, we're out there doing the work, but we need to extend this conversation. And so I love that you have done that. It's just fantastic. Um, let's talk about how, for millennials, their friendship groups, what are their friends? Because when I started talking about perimenopause and wanting to start a menopause company, my girlfriends were like, okay, you can start a bar, but don't say anything about menopause, even if that's how you created it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so are you noticing, is there a little bit of that, like, that's for older people, so I don't really want to talk about it. That's cute. You wrote that book, Lauren, but I don't want to talk about it.
Yes, I am still very much getting that reaction, oh, I don't want to talk about getting older, which is a reflection of our society's problem with aging, which also has to be changed. I think people are still prudish. They're uncomfortable with, anything related to sexual health, reproductive health. But frankly, I don't really care. And I think all the more reason to talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, we leave things in the shadows, then people feel alone, they feel overwhelmed, we're not getting the funding that we need to explore our options. And I have always been someone who isn't afraid to talk about kind of awkward topics. In law school, I did a fundraiser where they called me Condom Girl because I was handing out condoms and candy,
You're
raising
my
funds
person,
for
Lauren.
the Reproductive Rights Project. Yeah, and I'm proud to do it. And whether we're talking about menopause or menstruation or fertility or whatever it is, we have to talk about it. And it's okay if it's awkward, but let's keep talking.
So good. Somebody has to, right? You know, have you ever seen that video where there's a whole meadow of people and one guy stands up dancing and everyone looks at him like he's the weirdo over there. And then a second person goes and then pretty soon they're like, oh, maybe they're having fun. And then a third, and pretty soon the whole meadow is dancing, you know, but somebody's got to be the weirdo to stand up first. So
I'll be the weirdo.
right.
That's
I love that. I love that. Okay. So here's another piece. You kind of brought this up, you know, from a sexual wellness piece is, you know, for women who are older in their menopause journey and vaginal dryness impacting relationships, sex, the divorce rate is very high. And we now are seeing like, oh, well, this makes sense. You know, like women are going through menopause and men don't get it and no one's talking. So it turns into a thing that maybe wasn't even the thing, you know, but, how are you seeing that with perimenopausal women, millennial women? Are they noticing, or is it too early so it's not really affecting them?
Of course, as you know, every woman goes through menopause differently. So it could be related to hormone fluctuations. It could be something else. Whatever it is, whether it's related to libido or to physical health or mental health, I believe firmly that women deserve support. So something that I'm seeing a lot of, and I'll tell you that when I describe to my friends, oh, I've been learning about perimenopause and some of the most common symptoms, in addition to hot flashes, which that's like the one thing that people knew.
Right.
But in addition to hot flashes, the common symptoms are low libido, fatigue, irritability. Every single one of my girlfriends said, well, of course I'm experiencing all of those things.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we laugh about it, but maybe it's perimenopause, maybe it's something else, and the stressors of everyday life in 2025 and carrying the mental load. And so a lot of times that does show up in terms of libido, desire, self-image, body, confidence. And again, if it's perimenopause, there are so many resources available that we were not aware of. So it's been such a privilege for me to work with clients and to refer friends to prescribers who can give them vaginal estrogen or testosterone or whatever it is. Addie, you know, there's so many resources that I, as a professional, didn't know about. And so I'm really loud about it in the book. I even say, please scream this from the rooftops because people need to know. You don't have to, you know, just call it a day and say, this is my life now. And if it isn't hormonal, there's also tools, including communication, skill building, and mental health resources that can help you with articulating your desires and your whatever you need.
All of the above, right? Yeah. No, it's so important. And knowing where to go to first hearing it from somebody who's a trusted voice like yours, and then here are more resources even beyond your expertise. I know I shared like, these are my favorite books, these are the telemed, you know, on so much so that we just created a resource list, you know, like, here, okay, can someone send that a resource list, all the links go, because I really feel that all of us in this, it takes all of our voices to elevate this conversation, so to normalize it. And then when we talk about it and we share it, I always tell the audiences, it's now that you know this, it's your job to plus one. You got to plus one this conversation and just create that ripple effect. So I really get it.
Agree. We are all in this together. We are more powerful together. Again, it's nothing to be ashamed of, and we can share resources and build each other up.
For sure. Hey, you know, I was thinking, how old are your kids?
6 and 9.
Okay. Oh, so sweet. Okay. So little. Those are little kids to me.
But we talk, they know about menopause, they know about periods, they know about everything.
So good. And so how is it being a perimenopausal woman with little people? I had big people, you know, like high schoolers and they were a pain in the ass, like a different kind of pain in the ass. Not all of them, but some of them of 3, you know. How is that with younger kids? And so actually, I don't know where you are in your journey, so you don't have to share, or you can if you want, but
some clinicians have said I'm perimenopausal. Some have said I am not. You know, it really, in some ways, we're all perimenopausal when we're around the time of
100%.
menopause, right? So
If you think about it, like if you're already pre-peri, right? You know, like from day one, just
exactly.
like we're post forever. Every woman after she starts her period is like pre-peri until peri.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, go ahead. So,
And for me, as a healthcare provider, I appreciate diagnoses, which perimenopause is a clinical diagnosis, but I'm really about the symptoms. And so I did experience, you know, some symptoms over the summer last year. And frankly, I went back on the birth control pill, which is hormone therapy, and I feel great. So maybe perimenopause, maybe not. But to answer your question, you know, it's not easy to be a mother in American culture these days. There's a lot of stressors, there's a lot of pressures, there's very little social supports, and I'm very privileged and I recognize that, and I feel for those who don't have as many resources as I do. That's partly why I do what I do. So I just think it's not easy out there, and all the more reason that we have to talk about our struggles and what has helped us. And I think millennials in general have done a good job of normalizing things like fertility struggles or postpartum depression or other PMADs, perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. So I hope that menopause continues to be one of the topics that we're not hiding anymore.
yeah, well, thanks to you and women like you and your book coming out. Everybody should pre-order all the places, right? Hold
All
it
the
up.
places, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, on my website. There's links to
All
everywhere.
the
So yeah.
places because you know I'm looking to you to carry this torch forward, right?
Oh,
And
thank
that
you.
is the whole purpose, is that we just link arms and bring in as young of women as possible. My daughter is 26 and her friends, and on. So it's super important. I know you have a lot of great information in the book. How about some tips from the book maybe that you might share for millennial menopausal women?
Sure. You're not imagining it if you're going through changes, whether they're physical changes or physiological. Again, it could be hormonal shifts, it could be stressors of everyday life, but you deserve support, and support is available. And I will say that hormone therapy is typically safe and effective, so find a provider who knows what they're talking about and can collaborate with you, and get good sleep.
Huge. From beginning for forever, sleep, please.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the number one lifestyle change that the 4 dozen experts I interviewed said to implement. And I know it's not easy. I am a night owl. I'm one of those revenge bedtime procrastinators. I'm watching, you know, all these TV shows late at night alone, and it's my fabulous alone time.
Exactly.
But
Right. However,
you
right.
have to get quality sleep. And if you're struggling with that, there's also help for that.
Yeah, really important. And you mentioned hormone replacement therapy, which is something, you know, I went 8 years of my menopausal journey lifestyle only, and that's how I got into the space, because of wellness, nutrition, so I could somehow find a way to feel better. And then I decided at the end that I do want to try hormone therapy, and it's been almost a year, and it's been amazing. Like the sleep alone from progesterone is like superstar. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me this? You know, Anne, why didn't you tell me? She's like, huh? You know, um, so I love that you brought that up, because we know that there's so many benefits from starting hormone therapy earlier. So because you are at this stage, you will help a lot more women educate themselves around hormone therapy to decide if it's good for them or not. So you're really saving people's lives, I'm going to say, Lauren, you know.
Oh, thank you.
Huge.
I mean, I'm gonna cry. I hope so, because really that was the inspiration. All of these women who were at this event with Anne Fullenwider, they kept saying, I wish someone had told me, I wish I had access, I wish I had resources. And I really felt that pull to spread the word, because we're still under the shadow of the WHI and misinformation on the internet, etc. And it shouldn't be this way, and we have to support and educate each other.
I love that so much. And women, it is confusing, but also I want to say we need to support each other as women, right? And support the women in this conversation and keep it nice. Keep it nice and keep it supportive and trust that as women, we can sift through things to try to make a decision for ourselves. I think we disempower ourselves by saying that women won't be able to figure things out. And are we going to make mistakes? Yes, we make mistakes everywhere in all areas of our lives, but that's where we learn and we adjust. So I just want to bring that empowerment back to the conversation. Listen, watch, read, and decipher. Just take away what works for you. So um, as we wrap up here, Lauren, I'm going to ask you, how do you want women to feel after they read your book?
I want them to feel connected, supported, and empowered. And that's really the mission of all of my work and my personal life. And I am happy to provide additional resources if anyone needs. There's tons in the book, both books and providers and telehealth platforms, etc. But if I can help you in any way, please reach out.
I love that. I love that. And in terms of reaching out, you are heading out on a book tour, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I know. I can't believe it's next week already. I'm really excited.
I know.
So
You're all
thank you.
over New York, New
Yes. So
Jersey.
I am
Yes.
from New York City, which is where I will be at Barnes & Noble on the Upper East Side next Tuesday, July 15th. And then I'll be in Westchester County, which is where I currently live. Then LA and the Bay Area, New Jersey, Connecticut. And then, yes, I hope I see you.
On the
That would
22nd,
be amazing.
you're going to be in Silicon
Palo
Valley,
Alto.
right, with my friend Melissa Oliveira,
Yes.
Hot Paws Health.
Yes, will
Love.
you be there? That would make me so
I'm actually
happy.
in LA the day before, so I'm going to try to make my way back in time.
Okay, good. Yes, Hot Paws Health is an amazing platform, and that's really one of the most beautiful things that has come out of this book journey for me is connecting with like-minded women like you and like Melissa, and we really care about other women and about this movement and making choice available to women when it comes to their healthcare. So I'm so grateful for all of the support, and I hope to meet more along the way.
I agree with you. When I started Menowell, I have now over 100 new close friends. I mean, really close friends that I met mostly on Instagram and then in person around this conversation.
Totally.
Phenomenal. Like my life is so rich because of menopause. I met Oprah because of menopause.
I
Who
mean,
knew, Lauren?
that's the coolest.
Who
But
knew?
yeah, it's amazing. It's
Yes.
really, really amazing.
Well, welcome to the Menopause Club. We're all in the club, by the way. Everybody's in the club. Whether you want to be in the club or not, you're in it. And so some of us are just a little louder than others in the club. So grateful for you. Okay, hold up your book one more time. We want to see it. It's so cute, so important. Not to minimize it by saying it's cute, but if it's cute, it's cute.
I'm fine with cute.
I'm so excited for you. Congratulations again. Make sure you can still pre-order right now. It does come out next week, but pre-order so you can get it. I think on the 18th it
15th.
showed I could get it.
July
15th, right?
15th, it should
15th
arrive.
is
Yes,
out.
Tuesday.
I could get my delivery on the 18th. And so get your book, figure out, go on Lauren, where can people find you? I should let you say, please.
So you can go to millennialmenopause.com. And my website and screen name on Instagram, etc. Screen name, I'm such a millennial. My handle is The Counselor. So Counselor, but Laur for Lauren. So
I love it. So good. Thank you for what you are doing. Look at Nadia's here, and she said she's definitely going to look into this book. Glad I popped on. And I know her.
spread
She
the
is an
word.
amazing millennial. So really exciting. She'll be a good amplifier for you. All right. To be continued, Lauren. I'm so happy for you. Let us know how we can support you in any way. And I will see you on the road.
I'll see you out there. Thank you.
All right. Be well. Thanks, everybody. Happy summer. Take care. Bye-bye.